Is this the return of the Longhorn Network?
Texas is back, folks.
It's official now. If it wasn't before, it was the Texas Longhorns, the national champions 2025. They just demolished Texas Tech 10-4. Coming up, Eric, Vic, and I will break that down. That situation there. The Longhorns coming out on top. We'll break down the game. We'll break down the series, what it all means, much more. We got a couple of guests going to be joining us shortly there. Victor, tell the audience about it. So a little bit here is where you're gonna, man, that's our last live show, post-game show.
Last live show. We knew when Game 3 was made official, we're gonna be our last show, but we're gonna go out with the bang, we always do here at In the Circle Live, the originators of this thing. Make sure you go to d1softball.com. Promo code WCWS 2025, 20% off your annual subscription. There you can get access to the transfer tracker, the coaching carousel, and much, much more. Also, don't forget to go to bracket-challenge.d1softball.com to see how your bracket's officially finished up and how things look for you. How many of you had Texas winning it all this year and how all of that went. But Mr. Lopez, look, we were talking about it last night with Coach Trout. The excitement, the anticipation of a Game 3. And I have two clips that I want to play that perfectly encapsulate what happened in the Champ Series. Number one, games 1 and 2, the drama, the intrigue. This is the clip that perfectly describes those first two games. Glorious. And this encapsulates what the heck happened in Game 3. We were so excited to see what was going to happen tonight. And then Texas knocks out Niger with the 5-run first. And it was just like, dang, that's it. Like that.
Well, they figured him out the third time around. That was the big question. They saw Niger for a third straight night. Meanwhile, Texas rested Tegan Cavan, and that was a key factor. And Texas, remember, they had jumped on Cavan on Niger late in that 7th inning there. You wondered if that could carry over, and boy, it did. And
yes,
credit to Texas for that, for jumping on them early. Tegan Cavan did her thing. And, yeah, it was a wrap early. Credit to Texas Tech. They kept fighting. They avoided a run rule. They competed very well. But, yeah, Niger just didn't have it. And Texas, but again, big ask there going 3 straight nights. But man, Texas was ready, and they deserved it. They were the best team in this World Series. You can make the argument they were the best team the last 2 years in the sport. But the irony is, this year's team wasn't as consistent as last year's team. But I think, Victor, it's one of those teams that needed to go through the pain of the loss last year, and go through that experience, and that's why I picked them, Vic, before the series. Is I thought the experience would kick in, and it sure did. Certainly Texas Tech will be thinking about Game 1 and the whole situation with the intentional walk, but I'm happy for Texas, for Mike White, for Reese Atwood, for Tegan Cavan especially, who's kind of went under the radar somehow. I don't know how, but she did with everything she's gone through. It's a heck of a ball club, and they earned this national championship 2025. The first in program history, their 8th World Series appearance, I believe, in the school history. And now they're going to be raising a banner over there at McCombs in good old Austin, Texas. And I hear Austin, Texas, and there's not too many places better than Austin, Texas when it comes to celebration.
They're going to be doing stuff. They're going to be doing a little partying in Austin for the foreseeable future. By the way, a couple of facts we do want to share with all of you. Tegan Cavan, 31 2/3 scoreless, 31 2/3 innings without giving up an earned run in the Women's College World Series. That breaks the record that was previously set by Amy Day from Oklahoma State in 1994. Had 27 2/3 innings. Lisa Fernandez had 26 innings without giving up an earned run in 1992. Cavan was named the Women's College World Series Most Outstanding
I
Player.
voted for her. I had a ballot. I filled it out, and I voted for her. And I think she deserved it. You can make a case for Mia Scott. You can make a case for Mia Scott.
I thought Mia Scott with that grand slam in the fourth inning to make it 10-0. I thought she would have. It wouldn't have surprised me if we would have maybe possibly had most outstanding players with her and Kavan. I wouldn't have had a problem if that was the case. But when you go 31 and 2/3 innings, not giving up an earned run, I mean that speaks for itself.
Yeah, but Kavan was smooth from from first pitch on in this World Series. Well deserved. Again, I think between those two. So we'll see on that. But man, credit to them. And Nyjah, I just think she was on empty there at the end. And listen, there are some jackasses out there, Victor, including one that's is a friend of ours from school that made an asinine comment saying that this is the game where we find out if she earned her money or not. I'm like, go back to not covering softball, please. Go back to.
Can we call him out by name? Can we call him out by name?
Or maybe later in the show. Maybe I'll get more fired.
But Eric, our guest is here, so we want to be on our best behavior.
Touche.
So let's bring back in Illinois associate head coach and a regular on our Inner Circle post-game show, associate head coach Laura Trout. Coach, did anyone have 10-3 Texas on the softball bingo card in a decisive Game 3 tonight?
No. But I'm not surprised. I'm not, it just when you have chaos doesn't surprise me. When you have everything, nothing surprises you anymore.
Well, let me ask you. You talked about it last night. Nyjah, a third straight night. Texas had a lot of. I've seen her a lot. Okay. And by the way, Vic, make sure if there's a. We might have another guest joining us here, so we double check that if she's there or not. But while we look for her right now, you work for that producer. You said this. That was something that'll be key early. That would Texas jump in there? They made a late run yesterday. What did you see there that Texas did against Nyjah in that first inning that they hadn't done previously? What changed?
They're just putting better swings on her. They looked comfortable. You see a pitcher enough times, you're going to be comfortable. Even somebody as good as Nyjah. They're getting their swings off. Good, putting a really good swing. No pun intended there. I think we saw enough of those puns. But just putting a great swing. She looked like she was ready for it. She's on time. That's just a sign of a really comfortable hitter.
Yeah, good swing. Very good. You're figuring this stuff out very good there. They had a game plan, they looked like. They were aggressive on her. And what did you see? Did you see did you see anything there that suggested Nyjah was pretty much out of gas?
I don't think so. Okay. I think you give credit to Texas hitters seeing somebody for a third round. Like I said yesterday, you can't go home overnight and reinvent yourself. You can't go home overnight and invent pitches. So I'm going to give credit to the Texas hitters. And I just know Nyjah's a competitor. So, I think they were comfortable, got their swings off, and, you can only do so much.
Yeah, it's a tough spot there, Vic. Be on the lookout. We may have our next guest should be.
Our guest is here, Mr. Lopez.
Oh, let's bring her in. She's been asking. She wants a piece of her. She doesn't want to talk to us. She wants to talk to Laura's, which she
of course.
Teammate.
That's a number.
Yeah, I only agreed to do this so I could say hey to Laura on here.
That's it. Oh, I agreed to those terms. I totally understand it. Alisa Goler, Georgia, great AUSL head coach. We'll talk AUSL a little bit. But Coach Goler, give me your thoughts there on the Texas coming out strong against Nyjah in that first inning.
Oh my God. It's funny. This morning at practice, I asked when they were warming up, like what we thought would happen. And I had said, I think Texas is going to hit, but, I think you just saw that even the best pitcher in the country you need to have a pitching staff in the World Series. You can't be going the entire time. The hitting's too good. Sing's too good of a hitting coach. So.
That's interesting. You both have said that. So you both had a gut feeling that that third straight night was going to be the difference. That does matter, because people were wondering, could Nyjah be the exception to the rule? But she was not. You're both hitting coaches. What is it about that third straight game that offenses just feel more comfortable regardless of the pitcher?
I mean, God, that's so hard, because like Nyjah is phenomenal. It's just, I think my answer would just be between scouting and the data analytics, like as far as being able to make a plan, and just the fact that they saw her. Like, it's hard to beat anybody 3 times like that back to back to back. That's just difficult. I mean, imagine with how well that Texas Tech lefty just threw at the back end. Imagine if she had started and thrown a couple, and then Nyjah came in. But whatever. Hindsight, right?
Of course.
It's just hard. It's hard. I mean, kudos to both teams, but I think Nyjah going up for that game 3 was going to be a tall order for her.
But they had no choice. You have to throw her, right? Like there's no second guessing this, Jerry. You have to go with your best there.
Yeah,
she got you here.
We're all doing that. That's for sure.
That was her game. That was her game. There's no question about it. I think you also have to talk about experience. And Texas has been in championship games series before, and they've tasted it. And there's just something to be said for that. And when you're Texas Tech, it's your first time, you're excited that you're there. They're competitors, and they're hungry, but there's some experience that goes with it too.
I will tell you this. I mean, I have no dog in the fight, as I don't recruit portal kids against any of these schools. But I'm a hitter, and I know where I'm trying to go next year.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling the word's out on that, and for sure, I have a feeling there. Let me ask you. We talked to Coach Trout last night, so I want to ask you about this. What was it like for you to see Coach Glasgow in this stage as the head coach? And of course, he took a hit tonight. My goodness, he took a hit, man.
I know. And then they did him dirty with the slow-mo.
Yes.
Nobody said he was fleet of foot.
Touche.
Yeah. What was it like? God, I mean, it's just emotional for me. I think Eric. I think he's like my second dad. So I think him and Tara. I feel the same way about Tara being there too. But that family has just they've been through a lot, and they do things the right way. I don't care. When you're a competitor, you're always at some point going to have someone that doesn't maybe like how you do stuff, but that's just how it is in our game. But I believe that they do things the right way, and it was really, really cool I feel like he's been such a hidden gem from a lot of the softball world. So I love that he was finally getting his story and his background, because it's insane, actually. Like that article, people probably read that article and was like, what the hell,
Yeah, right.
But we all know him for that. And so I just love that the softball world got a chance to get to know him more.
I agree, and I actually didn't think TV did him justice from the standpoint of this series with Mike White and the history he has with Mike White, with Mike having coached Jerry Ann. That was talked about on the media day there, and both of them talked. Jerry, I know this is not a surprise to both of you, joked that if Jerry Ann's probably rooting for Whitey over him because she thought he liked him better than him. So, but that was a storyline in itself, and I think it's kind of a full circle moment. They talked, you had the Sam Landry storyline. Like, in a lot of ways, this was all full circle for that family in a lot of ways. And I think maybe a really a heck of a story, story. I know it didn't end the way we would have liked, but still, this was a successful year one for him there. I think he should get credit for the job he's done there.
Yeah, he's like, talk about being in a tough spot. So they invest the money in that pitcher. If he makes it to the World Series, to the finals, and they're going to get dragged. But if you don't make it, it's even worse. Like, if he won, he's still going to have people that want to say like, oh, you bought your way there, this, and this. I don't think everyone's understood what a tough spot he was in, win or lose. But he's just a good man. He's a good coach. I mean, everyone just got to see that finally.
He did. He's got some talent there back, and like you said, probably they'll have some additions later on. But let's talk about Tegan Cavan, the other great pitcher. What makes her so tough? She did not give up an earned run in this entire World Series. And really, Texas Tech, the only reason why they scored on her was because of Texas defense, which, Coach Trout, I'm going to get to that later. Don't worry. I know you're ready for that. But, what makes Cavan so good that they couldn't figure her out for the 2+ games that they saw her, and that's not even including the game back in February when she struck him out 18 times. She didn't strike him out as many this time, but they couldn't figure her out either.
Trout, do you want to go? I'll go after you.
I just think it's her ability to mix things up. You can have a great game plan, but for somebody who does the things that Tegan does, and deep down she competes. I think, they were on the ropes at that super regional. They were on the ropes. They're 60 feet away, from not even making it to the World Series. And I think what I've seen on her since then is just a pitcher that kind of put the team on her back and just kind of competed. Not trying to be perfect. Even when her team was, making mistakes behind her, she still kind of just put the team on her back and fought through. And still kind of didn't really feel like she had to make those strikeouts, because I think sometimes pitchers can feel like they have to strike people out even if their defense isn't having their back. But I think she just kind of stuck with what she does well and pitched to contact when she needed to, trusted her spin, and really just overall competed.
I was going to say, I think it's just that she executed over and over and over again the spots that she was supposed to hit. I mean, I'm going to say, like, she was threading some inside pitches on righties that were tight pitches, and it's hard to hit a tight inside pitch. Like, they done the best hitters in the world. It's that, so like I don't feel like I ever saw her cross the catcher up. I mean, stuff that we all preach to our teams, but it's still tough to do, and she's doing it on the biggest stage. So she's tough. I mean, I think we all knew that, though. Trout and I watched her all, she's played on Iowa Premier. Like, we watched her all the time. I think we knew when she was in travel ball that she was going to be phenomenal. Obviously, Coach White knew, but like, I think all of us knew that from watching her. So I wouldn't say I'm surprised, but I am very impressed of not giving up an earned run. That's unbelievable. There's a well-deserved recognition for her that she got for that. Like, that was just good stuff.
She also broke Kat Osterman's record for most wins for a Texas pitcher in a World Series in a career.
About time someone did that.
Yeah. And no one was happier than Kat herself on that one. I guarantee it. She's going to be celebrated, but she's remarkable there. And her battery mate, Reese Atwood, who had a tough World Series from a hitting standpoint, I thought her base hit in that first inning was huge to get on the board. You could just, because I feel like she's one of those, and it's redundant, but it kind of reminded me when I saw the Georgia teams, Trout, when Goler got going, there was no stopping your team. And I feel like Reese Atwood is kind of that for them.
Absolutely. And I think they completed this. They win the championship because everyone else kind of, even when she wasn't at her best, kind of supported her. But at the same time, that swing in game one, I think that changes everything. I think, the guts to swing, when they're trying to walk you, that changed everything. And I mean, how many hits did she finish with? Just the 2?
Made them count.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a young hitter should understand that, even if you're, again, not feeling your best, you're not at your best. 2 of the biggest swings of the World Series for Texas were those 2 off of her bat, even if they were her only 2.
I mean, that's the thing about our game. Like, no one else down the line will remember that Reese was over. Like, they're just going to remember those 2 big hits, especially the one in game 2, So I think what Laura just said is absolutely true. I think we get younger kids that go through, even current college athletes that go, like, if they hear this, like, they get so caught up in the results. And it's just like, that's the beauty of our game. It's literally always a fresh start if you allow it to be when you get in the box.
I also think people understand too that, if you're about to face Texas, your pitching coach and your head coach, your game planning, you're circling Reese Atwood and saying she's not beating us. And I think most teams made sure that she didn't. And that's where, the cavalry had to come in, and they did.
And they did. And Mia Scott being one of them. Yeah. If you could have made a case, she could have been MVP of the World Series. And reportedly, she's playing on with an injury, an ACL, supposedly. That Texas has kind of dodged that question. So they really haven't gone into that. But my goodness, she was incredible. What a legacy left with her bat and her glove. What makes her how can you perform such a high level if you're supposedly that hurt? Because that's scary. That's amazing if she pulled through with that. And that's amazing for her.
Oh, I mean, she was unreal.
Yeah, I think she just, again, that goes to the toughness. She's a senior. She's not gonna not play. You know, she knows where her team's at. They need her. She's capable. You know, I'm sure it was her decision. I'm sure it was nobody else's. And you know, she was going to be there for her team. And I think, you know, she's just extremely talented. She slows the ability to slow the game down. If you watch her field, balls that are smashed at her, she makes them look slow. That's how you know somebody's just out of this world defender, out of this world player. They make the game, that extremely fast game, look slow.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I've never had a convo with her or anything like that. Obviously, Trout and I are like secondary Longhorn fans because of our relationship with Kat. So we hear a little bit, but I would just say that I think that I think she definitely is one that, as good as she is, she does fly under the radar a lot. You know, she could have very easily been their headliner for the entire year too. That's how good that team was, to be fair. Like, that's what, you know, but I just think, you know, whether she's hurt or not, like, that's a player that they don't make it through that. They don't make it through that year, through the, you know, having their back against the wall and whatnot without her. She's phenomenal.
You're both coaches. Talk about this for Mike White, who's built great teams at Oregon, now at Texas, kind of was close, now gets over the hump, wins a national championship. He's built a heck of a team. There are 3 national championship series at Texas, and now finally gets that natty. What is that? What's that mean for his legacy there? I think he can. There's some you know, he's got some critics, people out there. I think those critics are pretty quiet right now. Pretty quiet.
I think, I mean, I think that it's only so many people can win national championships. So there's a lot of phenomenal coaches out there that have never won one. So I think that says a lot about, you know, what level of coach he is. He's always been knocking on the door. He's always been there. And then to, you know, complete it. I mean, I just think that you can't really doubt that any longer. Whoever was doubting him.
Yeah. I mean, I think the first thing is that it starts with his staffing. He's smart about who he surrounds himself with. I mean, he had a great staff at Oregon too, right? He's had really good assistants that have worked under him and cycled through, and he never misses a beat with replacing them. So I think the first thing is he absolutely knows what he has to have around him to complement him, because his staff that he has, they're really, we all know this, like, they're really, really good at what they do. So I think, like, kudos to him for being able to retain them, you know, for as long as he's had them too. But, you know, critics or not, like, I mean, how many people were having freakouts or were pissed that Mac Morgan started some games?
Right.
Like, and that was the right thing to do. I mean, he knew exactly what to do. So I don't know. I would imagine that as a man that very much stands by the, you know, lions don't need the opinion of sheep. So that's how I would hope he is, at least, because the guy did not make a wrong call.
Right. Well, even like game 2, going with Mac Morgan, going by committee, it didn't work out from a game standpoint. You can nitpick some things at the end of the game, but you both are telling me that probably made a big difference here, because it kept Kavon fresh for tonight, while Texas Tech had to use Nyjah 2 straight nights going into a third night. That was part of the strategy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. I think, and it wasn't like, you know, Texas Tech even ran away with it yesterday either. So, I mean, they gave themselves a chance without Tegan. And, you know, do I think they could have closed the door yesterday? Who knows? We'll never know. But obviously she was a lot more fresh today. And, you know, just overall dominant.
All right, Vic, what do you got for our guests here?
I think the biggest thing for you how important was it for Texas to continue that momentum from last night, even though they came up and run short, with that big first inning, especially that 3-run home run from Good, to chase Nyjah out the game and give Kavon some cushion to work with when she went out to the circle in the first inning.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny you say that. I was thinking to myself, if I'm Singh after the game last night, I am absolutely just sticking, like, I am going all in on the messaging of, we just hit her, we just smoked her, we just hit her hard. You're all over her. It'll be nothing different tomorrow. And, you know, there is like, I would be willing to bet there was some version of that conversation, because I don't really know what else you would want to do in that situation, you know, but obviously like their scouting had worked, their plan had worked. They've had enough at bats off her. So I would be willing to bet that's the conversation they had. And so I think you go out and you have a couple barrels in a row, regardless of hits. I mean, the hits and the runs help, but you catch a couple barrels and your hitters get confident like that, there's no going back. And then I think what you said as far as going up on some runs, it takes pressure off. You know, you've got the infield that has had to move around a lot and stuff like that. I think it just gives you a little bit more of a cushion, like you said. It just gives everybody a little bit more breathing room. And then, as we all know, when you're scoring multiple innings in a row, that's just tough on anybody. You had no breathing room. Like you have to feel perfect if you're Texas Tech. And then when you make those pitching changes, it's even harder on them.
Texas Tech, I mean, fought back to avoid being run ruled, aided by Texas defensively, who again had some miscues. What's kind of remarkable about this national championship is, you know, they lost Vivian Martinez, their starting shortstop, before the year with an injury, out for the year. And they've kind of had a makeshift infield. They played Stewart at short. They played Good at short and all that. And it was interesting. They asked Good last night in the postgame about the infield. What, you know, apparently it's faster in Oklahoma City than it is at Macomb. So Laura Trout is shaking her head. Yes.
Unless they change something.
Talk about that. You're the person I wanted to ask you about that. So what does that mean? For those that may not be aware about the difference with the ball being apparently the infield dirt being faster, the ball coming faster versus playing at other stadiums like at Macomb's apparently. That and Good kind of acknowledged, yes, it is. It's not an excuse, she said, but she said yes, it is much different and an adjustment there.
I think that's part of the game, is playing on different surfaces. But the challenge is when you play on a fast surface, I mean, you have to make different decisions. And I mean, playing infield is decision making. Do I attack this ball? Do I charge this ball? What kind of hop is it going to take? All of those things. And I mean, our field at Georgia was hard as a rock because Lou wanted to prepare. Allegedly, this is all folklore that I've been passed down to me. But our field at Georgia was extremely hard because she wanted to prepare us for the surfaces that we would face. I know before I got there, you guys were going out to UCLA and stuff, right, Goler? And, you know, then we started hosting. But those West Coast fields are apparently really, really, really hard. World Series, also a little bit of a harder surface. So it's different. It's no different than, you know, if you go play on a turf field. In the Big Ten, we got a couple of all turf fields. It's a different surface, but again, it's like, I mean, tennis. They go and play on in Wimbledon on the grass, and then they play on the clay. It's part of the game, and you adapt, and that's what practice sessions are for. But it is different, and just like in tennis, some people are good at clay and some people are not. You know. You know, I never in my life played on a infield that was all turf, and it's a different feeling. I think it's easier personally than a dirt field, but it is different. So I think when we talk about different surfaces, I mean that's really what it comes down to. It is different, but at the end of the day, it's fielding a ball and something that you've done your whole life.
Did you have a favorite turf you liked playing on, or a turf you did not like playing on?
I hate playing on those neutral sites that you play like preseason. You know what I'm talking about, like so basically like where it's gotten better, but where they play Clearwater, that used to be not a great surface. Palm Springs, that's not my favorite surface.
I love it. Both are smiling right as soon as you brought that up. Goler, just big smile there.
Dude, I played third base. They're all the same to me. They were either piss rods or not.
At shortstop, I have to, you know, I get a couple more rocks or stuff that it might hit. At third base, she don't have time to make decisions.
Irrelevant for me. I don't get to weigh in. I'm just smiling because I remember her back in the day.
How did she handle it? Was she ticked off? What was she like?
No, she was fine. Her reset. Like that, you know, everyone has like a reset. Like she would like look and like toss a rock. So it's pretty stone faced. But if you saw her kind of a couple extra, you knew she was a little, mad.
My reset was Goler telling me to figure it out.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, hey,
I'm sure there was some words between figure it and out that she was sprinkling in during those conversations.
Yeah. Yep.
That's good. That's pretty amazing. What is the lasting image you both are going to take from this World Series?
Oh man, is Texas the softball state now? I'm just kidding.
All-state matchup, first time since 2004.
And Division II, Texas Tyler repeated as national champions. So
wow, whoa!
Hey, I'm just saying, Goler's got a point there, Mr. Lopez. Goler has a point.
Well, the first thing, I mean, I do have to say this. I love that the SEC just got another championship, so I'm just gonna say that. But
they're called. They'll say it's borrowed. They'll say.
I don't know. If the Big Ten had no problem claiming whatever with the World Series, so the SEC can claim that.
Fair.
But the lasting impression. Well, I mean, I'm happy for Coach White because he has given a lot to our sport, and like you said, Eric, he's had to navigate probably a lot more negative press than good because that's just the world we're in. So I'm very happy for him and his staff. I love that, I love for our friend Kat that she finally has a champion.
Have you both congratulated her yet? Have you congratulated her? Okay.
Yeah.
I sent her some horn emojis.
Mm-hmm. And I think on the other side, like personally, I said it, but I'm going to say it again. I'm just so happy that the world got to know the Glasgow family a little bit more. And I'm so proud of Sarah and Jerry. So like for me, it was like win-win. We had good softball. The World Series itself was phenomenal. Like, as far as viewership, we had some of the best games that we could have as far as wanting to have people continue to tune in and all that. So I think it was good stuff. But very happy for Texas. That was well-deserved. Tegan pitched your ass off. Sorry if I can't say that on this.
No, you can say whatever you want.
Yeah.
I've said
that was awesome. I'll be really curious what those two rosters look like in a year.
Oh, we could say that about a lot of teams.
Yeah.
We don't have time for that. No, I'm glad you brought up Tara because Nyjah has, on many occasions, has complimented her and given her credit in media sessions about the working with her and the job she's done with the pitching staff. You both have known her for a long time. She left a head coaching job to be basically with her dad to coach here, and that was a family full circle moment. Just talking to her and being in this spotlight because it was good to see her get mentioned on the national broadcast and at times they're showing her working with Nyjah there. That's a factor too. Nyjah had another great year, but it wasn't like she was trying to figure it out on her own.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just say, I've been saying this all year. Tara's the most underrated coach in the country. She just is. What she did at EIU with the resources, the location, the staffing, all of that, what she did to have a 31 season, to make it to regionals, to consistently do that, to have players that turned into conference pitcher and player, like she's unreal. She is her father's daughter through and through. She's cutthroat. She's competitive. She's obviously on the pitching side, but like she can teach hitting too. She could easily be a hitting coach if she wanted to or needed to. But like Tara's she's just unreal. And so I'm happy that she had that success because while it was to go with her family, I don't think it was easy for her to leave that job that she built up. She loved those kids and she was winning, right? Like it was still a risk. They didn't have Nyjah locked down when she went. Like there was, so I am happy for her. And I'm also happy that Nyjah did get better and had success because I imagine like you get the keys to the Ferrari, but you don't want to make it worse. That's
you don't want to drive it off the road.
Yeah, like that's a high pressure thing. And I think she made her, I think if anything, the changeup got better. That was
yes.
Super obvious. But Laura, like, I could go on and on. I'm gonna let Laura go about her.
No, Tara knows ball. I mean, Goler said it all. Tara knows ball. Tara knows what she's doing. She's a chip off the old Jerry block. That's for sure.
Yeah. Now Jerry told me like that was one of the highlights of making this move was to have her around him on the staff and be a part of that. But you mentioned the changeup. They talked about it on the pregame. That has been a pitch that has been working for her throughout the year. And yet in this champ series, it seemed like Texas did a good job of either taking it away from her or not. I think they gave a stat where she only threw 13% of her pitches against Texas were changeups. And I don't know if it's because they sensed that maybe Texas had figured it out or whatever, Did you notice anything of why she didn't throw more changeups? Because it seemed like they just didn't feel as comfortable throwing against Texas. Is that just because Texas is a good hitting team with the changeup? They figured it out as the series played out, or just just one of those things?
Mike's pretty good at picking changeups, so I don't know if that had anything to do with it. But they also are a team that can hit changeups as well too. So hard to say.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. I mean, look at if you go back, that the home run that the OU kid hit was a changeup, right?
Yeah, Abigail Dayton. Yeah.
So
It was on the changeup.
Yeah, and I have right now. I've got an OU guy on my staff, so I get insider info. But I asked him if they changed their approach the back half to sit change, and he said they did change their approach, right? Which we all do as hitting coaches. We are always doing what we have to do. So I don't know, maybe stuff like that plays into your head on pitch calling or what you want to do too. I mean, there's no telling what Texas's plan was. We don't know. We're not there, but there's lots of things, like Laura said, that can factor into why you are or aren't calling something. But
sometimes it just ain't working.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is.
Not true. It's very true.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like I said, Trout didn't like this. We'll see how you react to this. But it's a happy anniversary to both of you. Part of your 2010 Georgia team, 15-year anniversary of the World
God, we're
Series.
old.
15 years.
15 years. I can still remember. Yeah. Gosh. Can I just tell you, you're going to laugh. I shouldn't even share this because it's like people are going to be like, why are you sharing this? This is embarrassing. But I just think it's so funny. So in that World Series, the 2010 one that Laura was there, I will never forget this. It was a night game. We're I think we're playing tennis. I want to say it was Tennessee. Yeah, it was Tennessee. And, Oklahoma City is brutally hot, right? I bring this up for a reason. And we got off the field in between innings and I yawned. I wasn't tired and it's not like I wasn't dialed in, but I yawned. And my coach, Lou, got in my face and started screaming at me. And I remember being like, I don't know why I'm yawning. Well, I just want you guys to know that this past summer with USA, the trainer told me that when you yawn, it's your brain cooling itself off. And it takes everything in me to not text coach and be like, I just want you to know that was 1000% my brain cooling off and not me being engaged in the World Series. Like not being engaged.
We also had the latest game every night.
I know. So I just
you really did that year, didn't you?
Yeah, we played at midnight.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
I just remember when you two run ruled UCF in Claremont, and I was happy because it was 35 degrees. I've told you both that. That was the only time I was happy to get because everybody just wanted to get back home.
Eric hates cold weather, for full disclosure.
Well, yeah, when you're broadcasting outside, are you kidding me? Having wind come, straight to your face and your mouth as you're talking.
It was cold.
It was very cold.
Yeah, but that's hilarious. So that was good stuff.
But this is part of a great year, though, in a lot of ways. The anniversary of the 2010 team, Jerry getting to a World Series as a head coach, and then I know you both will be together in December in Vegas to celebrate Lou Harris-Champer getting inducted to the NFCA Hall of Fame. That's not a pretty good calendar year.
It's about time. Yeah, we just got to get coach there. We just got to get her there.
Not convinced she's going to show up.
We gotta make sure she gets on that plane. She'll be there.
I mean, I hope. I keep the running joke we all have is that because she doesn't really like the spotlight and to speak. We said that she's going to have a screen up and she'll just have a list of names and it'll say thank you to the following and that'll. I hope I make the PowerPoint.
Is that be the most popular Hall of Fame?
Yeah, it's like the Pro Football Hall of Fame where you want to think you have to thank certain people in your speech and yet everyone else you're on that like the ticker we have at the bottom. That's gonna be that's what Coach Lou wants. Thank the following people, but all those names are over there.
Everyone will be really excited because you'll have the shortest speech.
Yeah.
The shortest speech in the history of the NFCA Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Fair.
Well, we can get to the after party that she probably won't be at.
Fair. Very fair. All right. Now we can't let you both go without you, Coach Goler. You're about to get busier. You're about a part of some history coming up here in the AUSL.
Yeah.
Just how you feeling?
Also, kind of like I have the keys to the Ferrari, and I better not screw it up. No, I am really excited. I still can't believe that I was gifted the opportunity to be in a coach in the league, let alone a head coach. I really mean that. Kind of feels like that every day. So I'm excited. I am so excited about the MLB investing. I think that is huge, and that's something that had not happened in any other pro league setting before. And I know when all of us have talked about it, it's been like, hey, this is going to be the real deal. And I think this kind of shows like now's the time to be all in. You've got the WNBA and the NWSL that have set the bar and shown that the model can work. We just had the highest ratings with the World Series. So I love that we're about to start the day after, so nobody gets the softball hangover. You can roll into it. But I'm really excited to see how things shake out. It's a lot of talent on these 4 rosters, like a lot of talent. And next year will be 2 more teams, so it'll be even better.
Yes,
we had Kat Osterman on the D1 softball podcast. She was literally just finishing up a scrimmage. She's the GM there with Kretschmann and company. My question is there been any trash talking yet from the GMs and coaches?
You mean for me? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, yes, there has been. There always will be with Kelly and Kat for me. I don't really have it in me to do that to Lisa Fernandez or Newman. I don't really. But there's been a little bit. I just am trying to keep my mouth shut though, because I'm a big believer in karma and I don't want to do anything that's gonna. So I've just been trying to eat it and weigh in sparingly. But it's gonna be interesting. It's obviously we're playing Cat's team tomorrow. I'm
aware.
Yes,
I'm very conflicted. I'm very conflicted to friends of the show here. Now, I must give you this heads up, Coach Goler.
Yes.
Trout and your brother have both told me that I need to be critical of you in the AUSL season coaching. Like,
I think that's fair. Someone's got to knock me down a peg. It may as well be you.
I may or may not get assistance from one of them or both of them during text messages. I don't. Yeah.
I'll be Switzerland. I'm going to be a neutral party in this entire situation. So please direct all commentary towards the other side of the quad box we have here.
It's all good. I embrace feedback of all kinds. I will tell you what's crazy though. So Kowalik's on Jerry's staff, so we haven't had her. She's literally driving in tonight, getting her physical in the morning, and then she'll be cleared to play tomorrow. I know, what a boss. So and then our other players, the league's got players that are finishing up in Japan. So in a couple weeks, the rosters will shake back up because they'll come back.
Right.
So the opening day roster is actually not the same as like what the end of year roster will look like. So that'll be interesting too for fans to kind of keep an eye on as we go, but trying to make it very much like our counterpart of baseball. And I think that's important given the MLB tie-in, because we're going to have a lot of viewers coming in now that we'll be on MLB Network and all that will probably enjoy that aspect a little bit.
It'll be exciting. It's historic, right? Like if this is the moment everybody's been waiting for, and the eyeballs will continue and kind of continue momentum from this successful World Series. And I think it's great to have baseball finally supporting it.
It is. And we're overdue for it. And there's been so many really good people and there's been such good intent behind these different leagues, but it just has always felt like not everyone's in the boat rowing the same direction. Right.
Yeah.
Like it's there. And it's still, there's still a little bit of that. I think the hope is that with all this talent that's spread out between the leagues within the US, that eventually it gets streamlined. I don't know what that looks like, right? That's why they get paid the big bucks. I'm just here to hit some fungo. But I think if there was ever a chance to do it, it's now. So I am very hopeful that will be accomplished in the next few years, because our athletes, they deserve a league like this. They really, they do. These college kids need to have that where they can look forward to it and have it be feasible coming out of college for them to be able to keep playing.
And make it a way to be make a living professionally, not just have to utilize coaching and playing and clinics and broadcasting. Make it a career where you can make this your focus and be paid and compensated accordingly for that.
Yep, where if you want to do that stuff, it's because it's your choice, not because you need it to live.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the conversations we've been having. Everybody is very much on the same page with that. And that's been, that's where I think that the goal is to get financially, and obviously the MLB's involvement is a huge step in the right direction for that.
Yes. They got all the pieces. They got the pieces of the puzzle. It's now just putting the puzzle together and making it the best for not just the fans, not just people who cover the game, but for the players, because they're the ones investing the time, the blood, the sweat, the tears, and sacrificing. And you mentioned Kawhi leaving from Oklahoma City, driving up to you, getting a physical, going to be cleared to play an opening day.
I know. I mean, like Trout knows, like as a coach, you're easily putting in 70, 80 hours a week, especially in season. Imagine having to train on top of that. That's hard.
You're going to get her tickets? You're going to get her tickets?
Trout, yeah. She's probably going to be busy grinding it out for Illinois, but yes,
obviously. She's going to be recruiting.
Obviously on the pass list. Yeah, whoever needs that. I know someone that can put you on a list.
When are y'all in Chicago? What are those dates?
July. We'll be there in July.
What, like I think I'll be around. I think I can.
Yeah. It's after the Colorado tournament. You'll be around.
Yeah,
I know you will be.
Give me some tickets.
Okay. I want to know which of the two of you is the better fungo player.
Better fungo, you said?
Yeah, the two of you. Yeah. Who wins?
Really I take a lot of pride in that, and I know she does too. I don't know how to answer that.
She's lefty and I'm righty, so we're both required.
You both can beat her. You can beat her brother, right?
Oh, he's pretty good at it too.
He is good. Okay, you know why he's good though? Because when he told me he was going to get into coach, like when he said to me, "I'm going to get into coaching," I said to him, "Okay, get up. We're literally going to the field like he was a little kid learning how to do T-work." And I was like, "You are not going to coach with the same last name if your fungo is trash, because that is so embarrassing." And Laura knows exactly what I'm talking about. When you go to a camp and you see a coach hit or you see pregame and it's bad fungo, it's not okay. So he is very good. He had practiced a lot. Like
he took that practice to heart. I let him take my fungo reps because he's lefty and Coach Perry's righty. So it lets me instruct a little better. So he's good enough where I let him take over.
I'm telling you.
You let him take over. Wow.
Every place he goes to, it's like I want a handwritten card saying, "Thank you for pushing him to be that good of a fungo player."
Yes, thank you for making my fungo a much better experience for everybody.
It's true. It's true. He was impressive. I got to admit, when I met him in Orlando, it was impressive. I mean, I still think you're my favorite goaler, but he did narrow the gap. I mean, it was close.
Gosh, I don't know, man. I think he's better than I am in a lot of things, but I will take the compliment.
Listen, no, you've been busy, and I want you to answer this question. She won't answer this. This is somebody that has been working out with the U.S. national team coaching staff, was in Dallas with the junior national teams, taking her time, part of the game in the AUSL. Speak to that and her work ethic, because she's giving back to the game in a lot of ways from a coaching standpoint.
She's all right. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
And this is why we brought them together, ladies.
I'm just kidding.
That was eloquently said. Thank you.
she knows ball. No, I think, it's awesome to see, somebody who knows what they're doing, can get, first of all, I think I've told you this story before, like she was such a great player, teammate, coach to me as a teammate. So just knowing that, she is able to give that to young players, and I just, our game in those spaces are in great hands.
Oh, there you go.
No crying.
I'm not crying. I can't wait until just the next chapter for whatever it looks like for all of us, because I think we all very much support each other and are proud of each other. So.
Well, listen, you both have the invite. You both could want to do a podcast together. Me and Vic will just take the show off. You can just run the show.
No, Eric, you take the show off. Someone's got to produce and mix it down. And get the
that's fair. No, that's fair.
Somebody's got to produce it, because that ain't me.
Thank you.
Fair. All right, so
Danger ain't my partner over here.
No, that's true. No, not if you want to hear equality. No, he makes it sound good. Trust me. I would pick him. But no, you should do. You're too good. You're too good. And I thank you both for joining us here to break down the championship series and the World Series game here, and just talking softball. I know you're busy, Coach Goler. Good luck on this historic journey here that you're about to embark on here.
Coach Goler, before we go, since Eric is going to ask the question, and he's been the one that's been doing this, can Eric and I get hooked up with some Blaze merch?
You can. You can. Y'all both will look good in pink, so that's a given.
Thank you. I've been told I do look good in pink. So since Eric is going to ask the question, I will.
Oh yeah, you got it. You got it.
Appreciate you, Coach.
As long as that Trout gets taken care of first, I don't want to cause any issues of a long time friendship here.
You know, she has an advantage because I very much know what her style is, so I'll be able to give her some stuff that she'll like. You're right.
Pink does clash with my hair.
It does.
However,
We'll make sure the primary color is probably black for you. But you know,
that's fair.
Make sure y'all tune in when you can. It'll be good softball all summer.
We're gonna be talking a lot about it now. You know, if you hear me being critical of your team, it's probably coming from either Trout or your brother's a source.
Oh, it's okay. It's all good.
Don't shoot the mouthpiece.
Yeah.
Sources tell me that they thought Coach Goler could have done this deep, that's the code. That's the code.
I'm pretty accountable. Yeah, I'm also pretty accountable. The source could be me saying it directly to you.
It's me. I'm the source.
Yeah, it's me. I'm the source.
That's fair. All right, ladies. Hey, enjoy it. I know you got a busy weekend for respective jobs. Good luck. And like I said, we're looking forward to seeing you, Coach, this summer, and have fun with it. And thank you both again for taking time. I always love talking to you both. We could do this for hours, but you both have lives. We don't. So we'll let you go on that note. Thank you so much.
It was good to see your faces.
Always a pleasure. Thanks, guys.
There you go, Coach Goler and Coach Trout. Gonna be watching. Gonna be on MLB Network tomorrow night, Vic.
Yes. I'm gonna be getting myself ready. I'm gonna have my setup ready. I'm gonna have my AUSL on one laptop. I'll have the Money in the Bank on the big TV, and I will be figuring out what we're gonna be doing for our podcast on our other computer. By the way, as if you missed us earlier in the show, we're back to our regularly scheduled podcasting on Monday. You may hear some of the antics that you have from Goler and Trout on that Monday episode.
Yeah, we got a lot of material to pick from. We got a lot of material to pick from, among other things. There'll be a lot of fun. Let's talk there a few other things here. I don't know if there's, I'm assuming, these when happens in these championships, usually there's celebration. The post games take forever. So I salute to Texas Tech on a great run. Remember, this was a program that had not made it, won a regional, Victor. Won a regional coming into this year.
They got close, which feels like ages ago.
And
Game 7 versus LSU.
And I think they're gonna have a stacked team next year. I think they're gonna be aggressive in the portal. And I think Nigel will be ready to go next year. I think she had a heck of a year. I know it didn't go end the way she would have liked, but as I said earlier, for these yahoos that have all of a sudden jumped in at the last minute here, and all of a sudden, well, she did it like that.
Can we name the Yahoo that you're talking about? But by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you missed the opening of the show, Mr. Lopez called out one of his own people from within our area, we will say, who's casually watching the series and started making a quick one. Oh, nice.
How about this? I won't mention the name. I'll have a name that it rhymes with the name, and you'll figure it out. How about that?
I already know who it is, but just give me the name that it rhymes with.
Rhymes with Clef.
Yep, I knew it. Hey, does he have anything better to do than trying to be the voice of UCF volleyball because he's the PA for football? I mean, really? Really?
Listen. What Nyjah has done, I think it's worth mentioning. And obviously, Ramona Shelbourne, ESPN, I think, reported she signed her deal for Texas Tech next year.
Yes, she upped on her NIL deal for next year. That was confirmed.
But think about all the excitement she's created with Texas Tech. It was a great turnout for Texas Tech fans at the World Series. Patrick Mahomes was at the games. There's new softball fans because of her in that region. And I don't think there's an accident that this viewership was huge, in part because of her being in the Champ Series. I mean, she was the headliner. Pardon the interruption, Vic. I don't know if you saw the episode today. Softball was in the A block.
A block was the third story.
That's because of her. They talked about her. And she deserves a ton of credit.
And here's the thing, though. Nyjah is the face of the sport. But Tegan Gavon in his Women's College World Series just said, "Hey, how about me? Maybe I'm the best pitcher."
Well, and that's what's exciting, right? Going into next year, you've got Kennedy, right, coming back. You got Kavan coming back. You got Reese Atwood coming back. You got Jordy Ball, who was healthy this year, coming back for Nebraska, and they're going to be in the mix, right? Carlin Pickens in the world coming back, right?
Oklahoma's going to be a year experience, and they just added Berzon via the portal today. So, the Sooners are going to be right back in it. Where does Caitlin Terry end up? You got Williams. I don't want
to get into the portal stuff because
we'll have time to talk about the portal.
Because I feel like the portal should be closed.
The portal should not be open until now. Just like recruiting isn't going to open until 28 minutes from now when the dead period is over. The portal should open at 12:01 the day after the Women's College World Series, because it takes away from the action that's going on the field. But yes, Pickens, Kavan, Kennedy, Atwood, Ball, Rock from Florida. Those are just 6 of the names that are going to be right there for faces of the sport in 2026. And who knows what other names could emerge that we are mentioning now, or who kind of flew under the radar and are going to be popping up on a bigger stage. The sport is in a very healthy place in terms of players and action. The umpiring, okay. Can I get a 1 in the chat if you saw that 7th inning call where there was an umpire review for potential obstruction on the play at third base, and y'all were about to lose your ever-loving minds if they called obstruction? Because when I saw that play happen, Maria Tribal Piece, who we've had on the podcast, she said, if they call this obstruction, and I tweeted on our Inner Circle Socials account, I said, we will get kicked off of YouTube tonight. I mean, the one thing that's going to screw up the momentum of the sport are the men and the women behind home plate. And I would just leave it at that.
We'll see in the offseason if they do anything. Probably not. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully, Vic, one day in the offseason, you'll text me, hey, we should talk about this. They changed this. Oh, really? Okay. We'll see.
Yeah. We got some winning lottery. I'll have a winning lottery ticket to split with you when that happens.
Right. So I don't know, man. I think it was a fun World Series. Kind of stung. It was kind of a bummer. It ended on a kind of a clunker a little bit, but
it hurt. It hurt. If you follow me on social media, I kind of put a meme out there where game one.
Hockey's back in overtime, Vic.
I am split screening.
Didn't we have a lead? Why can't we hold leads?
For full disclosure, ladies and gentlemen, we are Florida Panther fans, and yes, the Panthers had the lead late in the third period, lost it to a gentleman who is our age, I would just say, and the Panthers are in overtime again, trying to avoid going down 2-0 to Edmonton. So yeah.
So you don't believe that they'll do something with the obstruction and tweak it? You don't think they'll do anything?
No. If the safety base, if obstruction, if those were real priorities, they would have.
I've told you about why I don't want this. I don't want the safety base. I don't trust umpires with one base, let alone making a call with 2 bases. You don't like that line? I thought it was a good line.
It is what it is. Charles Todd Sullivan, obstruction is a rule issue, not an umpire issue for the most part. I think the rules force the hand of the umps in many instances. Is that a fair point Charles brings up?
I disagree only in that I think the problem, yes. The rule itself is an issue, but I think the other problem is some of the umpires apply it incorrectly.
And so it's not the rule, it's the interpretation.
They interpret it incorrectly. Like the other night, they didn't know it's a toe. That's not what the rule says. They interpret it as, oh, that's a foot. No, it's not. So I'm no. What? See, we're doing again, we're letting the umpires off the hook, Vex. You see this? We just always do.
But,
It's unbelievable. I wish, man, can you imagine, Vic, if we sucked as bad at our jobs as some of these umpires do? And it's unbelievable.
Well, according to some people, we do stink at our jobs, and they listen to other outlets who want to give you the fluff. But we don't give you fluff here. We tell you like it is.
Anyway, I don't want to get into the umpiring stuff. We've said our piece on that. We'll see if they adjust anything to it. But yeah, I think the safety back just complicates things more, in my opinion. I mean, until we get consistent.
But I think my whole point is that we bash umpires when they do a bad job, not because of the job that is done, but it's more because of the platform that is being done on. That's my whole thing. And I have being an official myself. It was a granted different sport, but it's a thankless job. So your goal is to not be known. It's just to be a part. Your job as an umpire is to be a part of the game, not be the game. And I think the problem is, and Charles brings up another point again, the rules are pretty clear on the throw to second last night. They ruled by the book. Change the rules, slash the book, and things are okay.
I didn't know a toe. I'm sorry. I didn't know a toe was by the rule book. They didn't mention toe.
Eric, okay, what we're going to do.
Oh, I have somebody suggested. How about we just here? I'm going to quote a message.
Mr. Lopez, Mr. Eric, I hate to interrupt you, sir.
Oh,
but
yes,
we have the voice of the national champion, Texas Longhorns, joining us, ladies and gentlemen, from the booth in Oklahoma City, our good friend, Mr. Andrew Haynes. You're the voice of the national champion, sir. How does that sound to you?
That's pretty freaking awesome. It's been a long ride with this team, starting 2017 and seeing this team grow and under Mike Wyatt and make multiple championship series. And seeing this team this year, the ups and downs, man, I mean, what's better college-wise than for us radio guys than calling a national championship, right? Incredible.
Andrew, I feel like I've been in this ride with you at least this year since the regional, when we both were talking a lot since UCF was in that region. But just put into words this run for because this was not a smooth year, not like last year it wasn't, and yet this is the team that does it. It's quite a wild in a way. Just describe this run.
Yeah, this was the team that was expected to do it, right? Preseason number one. Coming off last year, lost a couple of role player seniors and returned everyone. Other than that, I got to talk to a couple of the coaches in the postgame show down on the field, and I think it was Steve Singleton was saying, last year was the young team that had the talent and might have competed for a title, and of course they did. This year was the year they were building toward. And I honestly, mid to late April. That game in early May against Texas A&M, all those, it didn't look like this team was going to go very far. It looked like they were dead in the water. They were struggling in every facet. And it was just the one light at the end of the tunnel was this team might be the most talented team in the country. And it came together, and they got it done.
Got it done, indeed. You mentioned, all right, so take me through your night, because this, obviously, you're getting ready to call game 3. It's going to end one way or the other. Texas gets off to that great start in the first inning. What did you see in that first inning? And then just take me through the rest of the night, because in the back of your mind, you're thinking, oh, my goodness, this could happen, actually. And then it happens. And then, as you mentioned, you one of the privileges you have is you get to talk to the coaches and, people afterwards. So just take us through the rest of the night.
Yeah, I mean, before, obviously, I was nervous. Like, I'm trying to do better about not being too wrapped up in everything, right? And taking it easier. Like, when I become a fan of a team, whether broadcasting or just a fan, like, man, I live and die with that team. And so I was nervous going up to the game. Kavan with a pretty clean first inning, other than the hit by pitch. Like, okay, cool. And then Kennedy just didn't have it, obviously. And, Texas was right on her from the start. And Leanne Good ambushed that first pitch with a 3-run bomb to make it 5-0. It was like, holy crap, this is going to happen. And I thought about a couple innings later when Mia Scott hit the grand slam, I thought about saying that line, like, this is going to happen. And I held off. Hey, maybe if I said it, it would have ended in a run rule, But certainly relaxed after that 5-run first inning. And it was, it became a very fun night rather than stressful and the back and forth that everyone expected.
So then you make the final call. The final out is made. Joy Hoopla, take us through the post game. How, because people may not be aware of this. You do a post game show. You mentioned you talked to the coach. Now, do you go down on the field? Does somebody set you up? And then who did you get to talk to? And what was was it excitement? Was it joy? Was it relief? What was the emotions like for the players and coaches from what you sensed?
Yeah. So finished the final call. I let the crowd take it for 10, 15 seconds, maybe. Nothing better than clean, excited crowd noise, especially when winning a title, right? With a very sizable contingent of burnt orange and white, much better than the previous couple of years when they were dominated by Oklahoma fans. Just kind of, I stayed here in the booth and I talked through, kind of the program's history, started in 97, youngest program to make the World Series ever, 1998 in their second year. The mentioned the Cat Osterman years, make it to the World Series, Blair Luna a little over a decade ago, Mike White building up to this, and just kind of talked through all that. And then we went to Postgame and came back, and they were doing the award ceremony. They had luckily a clean port here in the booth. I am still in the booth at the stadium. I got your. I saw your message, Eric, just before I was going to leave and head back to the hotel or head celebrate somewhere. So, I was able to plug the PA into my system and get some good solid noise. The PA announcing all the players, the all tournament team. Did a recap with all the highlights, and then had a little extra long break, and I ran down to the field. And there were. By the time I got down there, I think it was a lot of joy and relief, especially from all the players who have been here for 4 years, for 3 years, who have been in supers in this situation 2 or 3 times. The players were just very excited and just all smiles, taking pictures. I was able to grab Mike White, Steve Singleton, Kristen Zaleski, 3 of the coaches, bunch of the players. I got Tegan Kavan for a moment. Reese Atwood was swarmed every time I looked around for her. But got the vast majority of the players. And I was able to go down to the field, and so I had talked to the media coordinating people here from the NCAA, and basically they told me when I could go down there. I used my phone to call them the station and just put it on speakerphone, and was speaking into it and then turning it to the player. That was it. Yeah.
Wow. Was that like a spur of the moment decision, or had you planned that like in advance?
Honestly, it was last year I thought about it. And, last year I was like trying to figure it out. And when Texas baseball season ended in the regional, I was like, hey, maybe I can, go down the field if we win it. And do we have equipment to do that? And there was something, but they weren't able to get it up to me in time. And obviously we didn't end up doing it. So this year, after we won the first game, I went and talked to the people and just, made sure what the rules were, when I would be able to go down there, and how I'd be able to get it done. And it was pretty smooth once I was able to get down there.
How about that, Vic? How about that? That is incredible.
That's what we love to hear. And I think, Andrew, you referenced it earlier, kind of like the relief of the group that you get there 2012, the disaster happens in Oklahoma. You get back last year, you think you have the team, but Oklahoma thwarts you again. To get there this year, win it, beat Oklahoma in the process, does that make it a lot sweeter for the Burnt Orange faithful, knowing that you win the national championship and you beat your rival on the way to said title?
Yeah, I think for sure it made it sweeter beating Oklahoma. First time ever they'd beaten Oklahoma in the NCAA postseason. Outside of the regular season, they'd beaten them in the Big 12 tournament a couple times, like in the Cat Osterman years, and that was about it. And so they got it done in the postseason for the first time ever. Excuse me while I plug in my phone here, just get a little charge as it died or it got close to it down on the field getting those interviews.
Do what you got to do, brother.
As Jolie Mitchell said when they asked her before the Champ Series started about not facing Oklahoma, she was if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. And while they didn't beat Oklahoma for the title directly, they did beat the man. They started the slaying of the giant by beating him last Saturday. Texas Tech finished that off. And so the Longhorns finished off the team that finished off Oklahoma. So, yes, very sweet. Would have been very fun to beat them for the title. But with the team Oklahoma had, I don't know if that would have happened. But I think no matter who it is, it's still pretty cool.
Well, the young lady that beat Oklahoma was Tegan Cavan. You mentioned you spoke to her briefly. Just speak about her and this legacy. What does this mean for legacy? Everybody, with everything she's gone through, with her grandmother passing on Saturday, I got to think that game against Oklahoma, it might have not have been a Champ Series game, but that's an iconic game that I think Longhorn fans should remember forever. What does this mean for her and her legacy?
Yeah, being the first pitcher to win the Natty at Texas, Cat Osterman couldn't do it. Krista Williams couldn't do it. Blair Luna couldn't do it. And so Tegan Cavan, and I think I saw she set a record for the most innings in a World Series without an earned run. Is that right?
Yes. 31.
Yeah, they mentioned that on the broadcast.
Okay, yeah. Like, how incredible is that? She got lit up by Ole Miss in the SEC tournament. She got lit up twice by Oklahoma 2 weeks before that in April. She struggled a bit against Clemson in that first game of the Super. And then it's like she found Superman's cape, for the second game of the Super, for the third game. And she was just unbelievable here in the World Series. It wasn't peak Cavan like early in the season with a ton of strikeouts, but it was Tegan. I think she matured a lot through the season. And she knew that, she has the stuff to strike people out. But when you get to these moments, there's players who aren't going to strike out a lot. And so she moved the ball around. She used her defense and was just absolutely incredible. I think she'll go down certainly 2 more years at Texas. Got to give the caveat, barring the transfer portal. No idea what's going to happen there. I hate that you have to say that about everyone, right? But 2 more years, 2 more chances to do this with a lot of talent still on the team. She could end up maybe not numbers wise, but overall legacy challenging Cat Osterman as the best pitcher at Texas.
No doubt. I would agree with that without question there. And it's a tight group. And her and Reese Atwood are going to be always linked together because Reese, yep. I know she didn't have the offensive stats in this World Series, but boy, the 2 hits she made made them count. And that hit against Nyjah in Game 1 of the Champ Series might go down in the lores, right? It's one of the most memorable hits in Texas softball history, I would think here, Andrew.
If she doesn't do that, are we sitting here talking right now?
Right.
Plain and simple.
Is that the play you're going to remember when you look back here?
Yes. I don't know if you guys, I ended up posting the highlight. I don't know if you heard it. I called it a boss moment. And because, who does that? Who swings at a 3-0 intentional ball 4 that comes too close to the zone? In that situation, your season, not quite hanging in a balance because it's the first game, but you don't get that hit. You don't score those runs. You lose the first game and you might go out the second game. There's a reason that she was the first team All-American. She was a top 3 finalist for the NCAA or the USA Player of the Year last year. And incredible confidence and skill to be able to hit that pitch as well, because it was a little up in the zone. I don't know if I can say enough about that. That's, Tegan pitched very well, but Reese had that hit. And that turned the overturned stolen base, caught stealing from the story into a footnote, which honestly, I think makes this World Series much, much better. If that was the story, you might be can talk about that as this thing, if Texas didn't come back and win it, tainted a little bit, you know.
Would it hurt
Texas won it after that, still, hey, give props to them. But like a lot of what ifs if that, you know, didn't get over, if Texas didn't come back. So I think it being a footnote instead of the story, that is just huge for the World Series, for college softball in general.
Especially with the record viewer numbers, viewership, that's the last thing you would want, is that call to be the define that game. So instead, that's going to be more about the Reese Atwood hit there. And then Mia Scott was unbelievable, less than 100%, putting up big numbers there. And then Mike White. What does this mean for him? I mean, he came on board. Chris Del Conte made the hire. I remember 2018. That was the big blockbuster coaching move. Mike White leaving Oregon for Texas. And, you know, he always draws, for whatever the reason. I like the guy. I've always enjoyed talking, but he does draw a lot of interesting opinions and whatever. But what there's no question is the guy's one of the best head coaches in the sport. And now he's got a national title added to that resume. And I think any critics he had are real quiet now moving forward.
Yeah. Honestly, Mike is a great guy, you know, gives me great information, great in interviews. Every interaction I've seen of him off the field, he's been incredible. You know, Oklahoma fans don't like him because he flipped off the umpire 2022 in the Big 12 tournament. That was against Oklahoma State, though. They think he accused Patty Gasso of cheating in 2023. And so they've been anti Mike White heavily since then. It wasn't the case. I won't get into it, but that was not the case. You know, he was reviled by many around the country for leaving Oregon. You know, like people were like, how dare you leave Oregon? How dare you go to Texas? I think a lot of people like to hate Texas because just the name, what it is. But Mike White, you know, as they'd say nowadays, he got his bag, right? He got paid, and a couple players followed him. Him leaving, and you know, the new coach coming in decimated their roster. So people who had started to like Oregon over the previous decade when he was there, I think they saw Oregon fall off in a big way that first year, and they didn't like him for that. But you know, he has been an incredible coach. I think you can tell over the last couple of years, like, have you seen any big players from Texas transfer out? Going back to Miranda Elish, that was the last, you know, big name, right? That transferred out. Players love playing for him. Coaches love coaching with him. Incredible coaching tree. He had been a very good coach, and I think this absolutely cements his legacy as, you know, one of the best coaches in NCAA softball history. And he has the talent, again, barring transfer portal, to get back here the next couple of years and do it again. I'm extremely happy for him.
Well, that's the thing. He's taken Texas now into a top 5 program in the country, top 2. I mean, they've played for 3 national championships in this 4-year run. This has been a heck of a run, what he's built. And, you know, you know what? When Oklahoma hating on him, that tells you that they fear him, that there's respect there, right? Because they wouldn't be worried about, right? They wouldn't be worried about him if you know, if he wasn't winning what he was winning. And I think that's made that OU Texas rivalry, to me, the premier rivalry in the sport right now. Yeah. I mean, it seems to be an incredible chapter. All right, we'll let you go on this. You could go celebrate instead of hanging out with us two clowns here. I think back, game 2 against Clemson. You're 60 feet away from your season ending. At second and third, nobody out. Team Kavan gets out of it. You win it in extra innings. I think back to the Oklahoma game. Oklahoma punched you. You punched back with everything that's going on with Tegan and her grandmother. You mentioned they start Mac Morgan, who hadn't pitched in a while. In game 3 of the Clemson series, a pitcher here in the World Series against Tennessee shuts down the Vols. You mentioned this when you reflect on this, I mean, there's a lot of memories here that's going to be on your audio tape there. But what are you going to think about this postseason? What's going to be the first thing that jumps to your mind here in the coming weeks in the off season here?
Man, just the resiliency of this team, fighting that Texas fight and never giving up. They knew that they had the ability and they just had to lock in, and finally they got it done. Just how resilient they were, how much they bonded after that, and I feel like really started to play for each other once that Clemson game got out of the way.
How close were you to Patrick Mahomes in the press box there? Everybody kept showing Patrick. I'm like, where's Andrew's press box? That's what I was
Andrew?
Come on,
yeah,
ESPN.
So Eric, the press box up here. I'm in the Chris Plank radio booth, the far left. That has become the booth that he has been stationed in over the years since they redid the press box here. For the most part, I think he's been here. So the far left, there's the Westwood One national radio broadcast next to me. And then there's all the ESPN suites, the green room, the talent room, and all that, their booth. And then you get to the 3 radio booths on the right. To my knowledge, he was in the farthest one on the right, on the first base side. Mm-hmm. And the Texas Tech radio broadcast was in the middle one. I don't know who was in the left one, but yeah, he was. So he was as far from me in the press box as you could be.
So wait, did you get the Plank press box? You were looking for that mojo, or was that just coincidental?
Coincidental. They just assigned it. It was probably because Texas was the higher seed.
Yeah.
Hey man, mojo. So there's some mojo. Yeah. You need to text Plank, say, hey man, I took care of your press box. You're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah.
Call the shots. Well, listen, man. Hey, listen, both of us, I know I speak for Vic. We're both excited and happy for you, man. You've earned this too as a broadcaster. You've paid your dues with this team since this program. And what was the first year you said we had you on the show?
Yeah, 2018, after Mike was hired.
That's right. Vic,
we got him on every year since.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. You've been on every show. So, man, listen, I'm super excited for you, man. You do a great job. I listen to you throughout the World Series there. And the thing that impresses me about you, you keep your calm. Like, you kept your calm throughout that. I don't know how. But you kept your calm and professional. The obstruction, I would not have done it as well as you did, the way you done. So you've earned it, man. Celebrate. Go celebrate. And congratulations. And thanks for coming on. Always been awesome to us. And you've deserved this. I look forward to the next time we have you on. You'll hopefully have a ring on to show us.
Yes.
That would be incredible. Guys, hey, thanks for everything. Thanks for all the coverage and being willing to bring me on and listen to my rambling on some questions and getting off topic. So I really appreciate it. You guys do great work. Best softball podcast in the country. Appreciate all the work.
Appreciate you, man. Andrew Haynes, the radio voice of the Texas Longhorns, who will always be remembered, Vic, as the man that called Texas his first national championship.
Look, we're happy for people who we've had on the show for years and years and years finally get a chance to celebrate and have their moment. And Eric, let's remember, Eric, when we joined D1 softball back in March of last year, who was our first guest? Reese Atwood, who got the hit to give Texas the win in game 1 of the championship series. Reese Atwood. Just saying. You're muted. Of course you're muted.
Well, I'm muted because they're going to double overtime. So
I'm watching it right now.
Well, you have a better angle than I do. But let me just say, it's a great point you make. The cool thing about this show, which is, man, we're gonna have to recount how many we're up to.
We're over 950 at some point.
But one of the cool things we've done here, hopefully, for the audience, is provide the best coverage of college of softball, and you hear it from the players, you hear from coaches, you hear from media people and broadcasters. It's not about our voices; it's about them. So I hope people, appreciate that and have enjoyed that. I know, and certainly sometimes we have a lot of guests on, but that's the beauty because people want to come on. But the cool thing about it is we get to meet a lot of cool people. And the cool thing for me was in this champ series is I really enjoyed both. I had friends on both sides. Like I really didn't care who won, Vic. I didn't care. Like I was going to be happy for one side, whoever won, and I was going to be like, oh, it's a shame for the other side. But I was happy you mentioned Reese Atwood's a great kid. I've gotten to talk to her many a time. We had her and Tegan Kavan before the season.
We did.
Talk together. And we talked about them connecting as that pitcher-catcher relationship. Boy, that became big here in the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
That, Mike White's been good to us since coming on the show when he can. Chris Brown, shout out to him. The SID at Texas.
Chris Brown and the Texas softball media team on the socials, they were on fire on the during the championship series.
Yeah, credit to them and a credit to Andrew Haynes, man, who works his tail off, man, calling every game on the radio side there. We've had Chris Plank. He's awesome at Oklahoma. They're awesome people. Texas Tech. We've had Jerry on every year since he was hired at Louisiana back in 2017. Remember, he had just won the NPF title with Monica Abbott, I believe.
I remember that. And
he got hired late in there, and he's been awesome to us. And Tara Archibald we've had on. We had Nija for our 900th episode on the show. We had Lauren Allred on the show. And we've had how many? We had Carlin Pickens on this year for Tennessee. We had the Luchar sisters. It's always cool to see people do good things. And are we perfect?
Hey, Eric, I just realized this. We have had multiple guests from every school in the Women's College World Series this year.
Is that right? Yeah, is that right?
Yeah,
that's right.
And here's the thing: when we asked the fans on our Twitter /X account last year, what do you want to hear more of from our podcast? And the biggest thing that the fans said is that we want to hear more player interviews.
Yeah.
There you go. So we listened to the people, and we're going to be kind of doing something similar during the summer because, we want to tweak and make sure that we get better for 2026 season. But softball is still going on, effective right now because it is 12:03 a.m. on a Saturday. The AUSL opening day is officially today. So follow the AUSL on social media for the full schedule. All games available free via the MLB Network app. Download it, folks. I'll be watching Coach Goler and the Blaze look to start 1-0 on the season, and hopefully we'll get that swag coming sooner rather than later. But
it should be fun. It should be fun. And obviously the transfer portal will it ends a week from this Monday. There will be transaction moves there. We'll have Houston is still open. Who becomes the Houston head coach will be very interesting to follow this offseason. You mentioned the AUSL. We'll see how that goes. We'll be following that. So we'll still be on.
We got pro softball in our backyard with the Orlando Monarchs. So
make sure you check out D1 Softball, our crew, Jenna Becerra out there with Paige Halstead. You got Justin McLeod out there. They're all taking care of coverage. They have articles up. They've got interviews lined up for the Champ Series. They'll be on the social pages. They've done a heck of a job knocking it out from over there. And that's been awesome. And hopefully everybody's enjoyed that coverage. And it's going to be fun, man. This was a fun World Series to cover. And we look forward to we'll see what the offseason brings. And then before you know it, we'll get to 2026. A lot of great storylines set up for 2026. Shout out to seeing Scarlett. Shelby, you do owe a bet. You're gonna have to go on her show at some point. We're gonna have to work that out.
I am looking forward to paying off. I got the tortillas behind me off camera to pay off the bet. I do have to work on my vocals to learn the Texas Tech fight song to pay off said bet. But actually, we got a comment here. KS Sooner in Texas. I think he encapsulates the situation very well. We get paid to do this. I hope it's enough. Keep up the good work. Talk pro. And what about the independents? What will be brought in next year? I mean, think about this, Eric. We get to be live on YouTube. We get to talk to Alisa Goler, who's going to be coaching, who's the head coach of the AUSL. Laura Trout, associate head coach, who's on the recruiting trail this weekend. We just talked to Andrew Haynes, who's the radio voice of the newly minted Texas.
That's a first for us, by the way. That's cool. I was really glad that worked out. I was glad that worked out.
I mean, we've had broadcasters on before, mainly Chris Plank, after they won the national championship, but that was a few days after the season, but not a lot.
Right. But we had a lot of radio guys this year too. We had Nate Rohr on Nebraska.
Yeah, Nate
Rohr. Had on Voice of the Aggies. You talked to.
Yes, yeah, Matt Simon. We had him on. We had
Ryan Urquhart during championship week.
We had Urquhart. We had the newly minted voice of Oklahoma State, Ryan Breeden on the show. And of course, before we go, we want to thank the fans for all of your support, because we don't get to this without what your support for us. Telling us what we need to do, telling us what we don't need to do, telling us about our microphones, and I'm working on that as we speak. But we want to thank all of you, the fans, especially those who haven't been. And no, I don't bet, Rob. Nice try, but at least with money anyway. But we listen to you. We take your feedback. We apply it to the show and this podcast, and our growth is happening because of you. So we're going to continue to evolve in the circle. We're going to continue to evolve our platform, because this is about giving you, the fans, what you want and what you deserve in a softball podcast.
But we're not going away. We're going to be back on the regular podcast on Monday. So
yes.
There's no off season. That's what I've been told.
Hey, hopefully this Panther Edmonton Oilers game will be done before we go on our podcast on Monday.
I mean, no comment on that. But listen, it's been a fun year. It's been another fun year. College softball. You mentioned our shows it continues to grow. It's been huge. And man, we've had the who's who and the show's guest list. This is the show that the coaches, players listen to. Trust me, I've traveled a lot, and people have told me that. And then one of the fact people were like, "Why aren't you here at the World Series?" We might have to work on that. One of us may have to represent next year at the show again.
Yeah, we might. Yeah, you've been holding us down in Oklahoma City for the Big 12 tournament, but yeah, I think.
Listen, that was fun.
Overdue. I think we're long overdue for a trip out to the World Series.
Well, and I hope that's the cool thing that we did at D1 softball this year. I'm excited about. Think about the championship week. I was in Oklahoma City to kick off the postseason there. We had Jeff Brown, who's been awesome for us this year at D1 softball, covering the Big Ten tournament and been writing all year. You had certainly Amanda Lorenz, who's, by the way, also in the AUSL, personal favorite.
Yes.
She awesome. She was covering the SEC with Justin. Jenna was doing the ACC this year. So that was a ton of fun. Man, it was just so many good memories, and hopefully, trying to cover the sport the way it should be covered. And that's been a lot of fun. And it's like I said, are we perfect? No, but then again, there is a sport. So we're human beings. No, listen, and for those that don't know, like Vic has got a ridiculous schedule that you have no idea. And I'm not going to get into it because it's his business, but he's got a work schedule that's second to none. So he's balanced. I hope people appreciate what he does from an editing standpoint. Keep that in mind. And when you the guy's got a lot of stuff that he's juggling, not making an excuse, but he's got busy job stuff that he does. And he's working like weird hours. Like you won't believe some of the hours he's up editing the show.
Eric, champions don't make excuses. They get results.
So
hold on. Hey, our friend Rob has an interesting question. Isn't it time for Vic to fly to
O'Hare?
Rob, funny you should mention that. I had an interesting conversation with someone who was talking to me about the Chicagoland last night. So
really,
maybe it might be time, Rob. It might be time. It might be time.
Easy there. Okay.
Time.
People calling this. Wow. That's like a callback. That's a callback to your previous trips in the past.
Yeah. Who knows? Before we wrap up, for those who don't know, I've gone to Chicago area through 2 of the last 3 years to watch Athletes Unlimited. In each of those 2 instances, a prominent coach has stepped away. Carol Hutchins happened when I landed on the plane. Allison Habit stepped away from Alabama when I was walking to my hotel, and then she retired and got the head coaching job in Louisiana. So
we did a show from the airport at one point, didn't we? We did a show.
Yeah, the infamous show where my flight got delayed and I had to take it. We're gonna have some podcasts during the summer where Eric and I are gonna pull back the curtain on some funny stories and some episodes, kind of just to give some levity to our show as we approach episode number 1000. But yeah, it's fascinating. But Mr. Lopez, double overtime is about to start in Edmonton.
All right.
And I think
keep out, yeah, no doubt. Check out D1 Softball for all the latest on Texas winning the national championship and the coverage from the World Series. And, of course, the transfer portal. We have a transfer tracker in there on D1 Softball. Make sure you subscribe. We don't take off. We're not taking the offseason here at D1 Softball. We're going to have all that
promo code, people.
There you go. Yeah, take advantage. Take advantage of that promo code. Thanks to the crew there. Thanks to Laura Trout. Thanks to Alisa Goler for joining us. Thanks to Allison betting earlier this week, by the way, for Game 1. Knocked it out of the park. Thanks to Shannon Sale, who joined us here as well during the Sunday night version of the live show.
Yes.
And hope everybody enjoyed it. Once again, congratulations to the Texas Longhorns, your 2025 national champions. For Victor Anderson, I'm Eric Lopez. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of In the Circle Live. We'll talk to you on Monday.
Top podcast is out. Good night, Canada. Hopefully it's not a good night for everyone.